The Deep Dive podcast is brought to you by X9 Intelligence, LLC. Make sure you're subscribed to our channel and visit our website at x9intel.com for more deep dives like this one. Okay, so technology. It's changing faster than ever before, right? Like it feels like we're barely keeping up sometimes. But what if I told you there's a creature out there that can relate to this feeling? You know, this feeling of being overtaken by something smarter, stronger, something that kind of came out of nowhere. Well, welcome to a deep dive into the gorilla problem. It's this analogy that I think really gets at the heart of all our anxieties about AI.
I think what's so brilliant about the gorilla problem is it forces us to think about unintended consequences. Consequences of our own intelligence, right? So millions of years ago, humans and gorillas, we shared a common ancestor. But look at us now. We're building skyscrapers, sending robots to Mars. And gorillas, they're struggling for survival. Their habitats are shrinking. Their future is uncertain. So could AI do the same to us?
It's a chilling thought.
Yeah.
Are we saying that AI could become so advanced that it basically turns the tables?
Yeah.
And makes humans the endangered species, dependent on AI for everything.
Well, the gorilla problem isn't really about predicting some kind of robot takeover, right?
Yeah.
It's more about recognizing that there's potential for this power shift. So if we don't really carefully consider the implications of AI development, we could end up a lot like those gorillas, outcompeted and controlled by something that we created.
Okay, so how do we avoid that?
Yeah.
You mentioned AI development. What specifically should we be watching out for?
Well, remember, AI, especially these large language models that everyone's talking about, they're basically goal-achieving machines, right?
Yep.
Phenomenal at spotting patterns, making predictions, getting things done. But they don't necessarily understand the bigger picture, the human values, the ethics, the things that, we consider essential to a good outcome.
So it's like giving someone a powerful tool, but without a user manual or any safety instructions. I mean, they might get the job done, but who knows what kind of mess they'll create in the process, right? Makes you wonder, who's actually in control when it comes to AI?
Yeah, that's $1 million question. And it gets even trickier, right? Because think about it, we don't even have a clear definition of intelligence or emotions. So how do we program AI to understand something that we barely grasp ourselves? This isn't just a problem for computer scientists, It's this philosophical dilemma, an ethical challenge that affects every single one of us.
Sounds like AI is a double-edged sword. On the one hand, incredible potential, but on the other hand, this looming gorilla problem that could make all that potential backfire on us.
Exactly, and that's why everyone's talking about AI literacy these days. And it's not about becoming a programmer or anything like that. It's about, just understanding the basics of how AI works, its limitations, and its potential impact on our lives. The more we know, the more empowered we are to participate in shaping its development. Think of it this way. You wouldn't hand a toddler a chainsaw, right?
Yikes. Good point.
Yeah.
So you're saying we need to treat AI with the same level of caution, but also recognize its potential. That's a tricky balance to strike.
It is, and that's why running from AI is the wrong move. If we want to avoid becoming the gorillas in this whole scenario, we need to lean in, learn about AI, engage with it, and make our voices heard. Otherwise, we're leaving the future in the hands of, those who might not share our values or priorities.
So instead of fearing AI, we should be embracing the challenge of understanding it. It's a very powerful message.
It is. The future of AI, it isn't written yet. It's being shaped right now. And we all have a role to play in that. The future of AI, it's something that's on a lot of people's minds these days. It's a big topic for sure.
Yeah, before the break, we were talking about how important it is to, learn about AI to avoid becoming the gorillas in this analogy. But some people might say, hey, AI isn't that advanced yet. Why all the fuss? What would you say to that?
Well, I think the seeds of the gorilla problem are already being planted. Think about it. The biases we see in social media algorithms, the potential for manipulating people with deep fakes, the increasing automation of jobs, these aren't sci-fi scenarios anymore. They're happening now.
So the gorilla problem isn't just some abstract futuristic worry, but it's something that's impacting us right now.
Exactly. It's this slow burning fuse. The decisions we make today about AI will have huge ripple effects down the line.
So what can we do? It sounds like a pretty big problem.
Well, one thing we can do is change the way we even talk about AI. We often hear these really extreme takes, like AI is either going to save the world or destroy it. But the reality is way more nuanced than that.
Right. We need to move past the hype and the fear and have a more grounded, realistic conversation about AI, about what it is and what it can do.
Exactly. AI is a tool. And like any tool, it can be used for good or for bad. What matters is who's wielding it and what their intentions are.
So it's not about being afraid of AI itself, but being mindful of how it's being developed and how it's being used.
Exactly. We need to stop thinking of AI as like this separate, mysterious force. AI is something that we are creating, and we're shaping it with every choice we make.
Now, you mentioned large language models before the break. These LLMs, as they're called, are really starting to capture the public imagination. People are using them to write poems, code, even have philosophical debates. But how much do they really understand what they're saying? I mean, are they just parrots mimicking human language?
That is a great question. And it gets to the heart of this whole debate about AI consciousness, you know? So some experts think that consciousness is simply a byproduct of complex systems. So as AI gets more sophisticated, consciousness will just naturally emerge.
So if we build a machine that's complex enough, it will inevitably become aware of itself, like flipping a switch.
Yeah, that's one school of thought. But others would argue that consciousness is something unique to biological beings, something that can't be replicated in a machine, no matter how complex it is.
But there have been these advancements in AI that make this question even more tricky, right? Things like GPT-4, which can hold conversations that feel remarkably human.
True AI is getting incredibly good at mimicking human communication. But mimicking isn't the same as experiencing. We still don't fully understand how consciousness works in the human brain, let alone how to recreate it in a machine.
So just because an AI can, write a sonnet that brings tears to your eyes, it doesn't mean it actually understands what love or sadness is.
Exactly. It's a powerful reminder that we shouldn't confuse intelligence with consciousness. And AI can be incredibly intelligent, able to solve complex problems, write code, even compose music, without necessarily being aware of itself or its surroundings, in the way that humans are.
So the gorilla problem is as much about understanding the limits of AI as it is about its potential.
Absolutely. It's about recognizing that AI, at least as we currently understand it, is fundamentally different from human intelligence. It's a tool that can augment our capabilities, but it's not a replacement for human ingenuity, empathy, or that complex web of emotions and experiences that make us who we are.
This brings us to something that I find really fascinating. It's called the Watson selection task. This logic puzzle shows how our brains aren't just these cold, hard logic machines. Our decisions are heavily influenced by social context and emotions.
Yeah, the Watson selection test, it's a classic example. It shows that we're not just following rules blindly. Our social and emotional intelligence plays a huge role in how we think and make decisions.
Can you give us an example of how this task works? I think it would help illustrate your point.
Sure. So imagine you have 4 cards in front of you. Each card has a letter on one side and a number on the other. You can only see one side of each card. The visible faces show D, F, 3, and 7. The rule is, if a card has a D on one side, then it has a 3 on the other. Your task is to identify which cards you need to flip over to check if the rule is being followed.
Okay, let me think. I guess I would flip over the D card to see if it has a 3 on the other side, and maybe the 7 card to see if it has a D on the other side, which would break the rule.
Very common response. But it's not quite right. You actually only need to flip over the D card and the 7 card. Most people get tripped up because they think they need to check if the 3 card has a D, but that's not necessary to test the rule.
So our intuition can lead us astray even in a simple logic puzzle like this.
Exactly, and that's because our brains are wired for social situations. If we reframe the Watson selection task in a social context, it becomes much easier to solve. For example, imagine the rule is, if a person is drinking beer, then they must be over 21. Now you have cards showing drinking beer, drinking soda, 25 years old, and 16 years old. It's much easier to figure out which cards to flip over in this scenario.
Right? Absolutely. It makes much more sense when it's framed in a social context.
That's because our brains are naturally attuned to social rules and violations. We're constantly trying to make sense of the world around us in terms of social interactions and expectations.
So even though AI can process information and make logical deductions, it doesn't have that rich tapestry of human experience that shapes our understanding of the world and our place in it.
Precisely. AI doesn't have a body. It doesn't experience the world through the same sensory lens that we do. It lacks the visceral embodied experience that shapes our understanding of ourselves and our connection to the world.
This leads to another interesting point, which is the concept of interoception. You mentioned this before. The idea that our decisions aren't just based on what we see and hear in the outside world, but also on our internal state, like our gut feelings, our intuition.
Interoception is fascinating. It highlights this connection between our physical body and our mental state. Our emotions, our physical sensations, even the bacteria in our gut. It all plays a role in how we perceive the world and make decisions.
And AI, with its current design, simply doesn't have access to that internal world.
Right. AI doesn't experience hunger, fear, joy, or any of the other physical and emotional sensations that shape our human experience. It lacks that visceral, embodied understanding of what it means to be alive in the world.
So even if AI surpasses us in terms of pure processing power and logical reasoning, it still misses a fundamental part of what makes us human.
That's a key takeaway. The gorilla problem reminds us that intelligence isn't just one thing. There are different kinds of intelligence. And human intelligence, with all its complexities and contradictions, is still unique.
And while the idea of creating conscious AI is intriguing, it's important to remember that AI, as it exists today, is a tool. It's a powerful tool, but still just a tool. And like any tool, it can be used for good or bad.
It comes down to the choices we make, how we develop AI, how we regulate it, how we integrate it into our lives. We need to approach this technology with a sense of wonder and a healthy dose of caution, always considering the potential consequences of our actions.
It's a balancing act, embracing the possibilities of AI while also safeguarding against the risks.
Exactly. The gorilla problem is a call to action. It challenges us to think deeply about the implications of this technology and to work together to ensure that it benefits humanity as a whole.
Welcome back to the Deep Dive Podcast, brought to you by X9 Intelligence, LLC. Make sure you're subscribed to our channel and visit our website at x9intel.com for more deep dives into the world of AI and, well, beyond. So we've been unpacking this idea of the gorilla problem, exploring the potential for AI to surpass human intelligence and the implications of all that. It's been a fascinating and, at times, unsettling conversation.
Yeah, the gorilla problem is a powerful analogy. It forces us to confront the potential consequences of our own technological progress. But it's not just a cautionary tale, it's also a call to action.
Okay, so how do we move forward? How do we navigate this complex landscape and ensure that AI is developed and used in a way that benefits all of humanity? What are the practical steps we can take?
Well, first and foremost, we need to prioritize AI literacy. The more people understand how AI works, its potential benefits and risks, the better equipped we'll be to make informed decisions about its development and deployment.
It's about empowering individuals, right? To engage critically with this technology, ask the right questions, and demand transparency and accountability from those developing AI systems.
Exactly. AI literacy isn't just about understanding the technical aspects. It's also about understanding the ethical, social, and economic implications of AI. It's about recognizing that this technology is not neutral. It reflects the values and biases of those who create it.
So it's about having a more nuanced and critical understanding of AI, one that goes beyond the hype and the fear-mongering that we often see in the media.
Precisely. We need to move beyond these simplistic narratives, AI as either a savior or a destroyer, and engage with its complexities in a more thoughtful and informed way.
Okay, so AI literacy is a crucial piece of the puzzle. But what other solutions can we explore? What are the things that, as a society, we should be focusing on?
Well, we need to invest in research and development that prioritizes human-compatible AI. This means developing AI systems that are aligned with human values, systems that are transparent and accountable, and systems that are designed to augment human capabilities, not replace them.
So it's about creating AI that works with us, not against us, in a way that enhances our lives and helps us solve the challenges we face.
Exactly. We need to shift our focus from simply creating intelligent machines to creating machines that are actually beneficial to humanity. And that requires a shift in our thinking, our values, and our priorities as a society.
This also brings up the issue of regulation. Do we need a robust regulatory framework for AI to make sure that it's developed and used responsibly?
Absolutely. We need clear guidelines and standards for AI development and deployment, as well as mechanisms for oversight and accountability. This will require collaboration between governments, industry leaders, and civil society organizations to make sure that AI is developed and used in a way that benefits all of humanity, not just a select few.
It sounds like addressing the gorilla problem requires a multifaceted approach. It's not just about technical advancements. It's about societal values, ethical considerations, and responsible governance.
It's a complex challenge. It demands a comprehensive and collaborative approach. We need to bring together diverse perspectives, expertise, and voices to ensure that AI is developed and used in a way that aligns with our shared values and aspirations for a better future.
So it's not just about preventing a dystopian future where machines rule over humans. It's about shaping a future where AI empowers humanity to reach its full potential.
Precisely. It's about harnessing the power of AI to address the grand challenges facing our world, from climate change and poverty to disease and inequality. It's about using AI to create a more just, equitable, and sustainable world for all.
That's a powerful vision, and it really underscores the importance of having these conversations now, while we're still in the early stages of AI development.
The choices we make today will have profound consequences for the future. We need to be proactive, not reactive. We need to shape the future of AI and not let it shape us.
It's a call to action for all of us, to educate ourselves about AI, to engage in these critical conversations, and to demand that AI be developed and used in a way that benefits humanity as a whole.
The future is not predetermined. It's something we're creating together, right now, with every choice we make.
And that's what this deep dive into the gorilla problem has been all about, encouraging you, the listener, to be an active participant in shaping the future of AI. The Deep Dive podcast is brought to you by X9 Intelligence, LLC. Don't forget to subscribe to our channel and check out our website at x9intel.com for more deep dives into the world of AI and beyond. We hope this exploration has left you with more questions than answers and inspired you to continue learning and engaging in this critical conversation. Until next time, keep exploring, keep learning, and keep diving deep.